Hi, I'm Allison, and I'm going to talk about my hypothesis that more positive enforcement creates more positive employees. So, my hypothesis was that in opposition to negative reinforcement, I rolled my eyes a little bit on that, just because it's a different type of reinforcement. And so, on one side, you got reinforcement that is built on basically threatening people, so to speak, of people losing their jobs or the ideas of if we watch enough that we'll make sure that our employees do better with micromanagement, or even short rewards where during deadline times when you have to meet a goal, we'll give you pizza. And so, versus the idea that if you give long-term goals and long-term rewards where, hey, if you meet a yearly goal or a monthly goal, we'll give you more personal break, we'll give you more, and this to stay, we will give you more casual wear, as well as long-term goals being like meeting yearly goals. Over any of you better raise, we'll give you promotions, maybe for vacation time is more beneficial and gives more energy to workers than the opposite. And so, turns out, during doing my research for the Lit Review with the 15 articles and books that we went through, that positive reinforcement is the reinforcement to go with. And so, basically, that with these other reinforcements, that it only creates a temporary boost in productivity and actually creates money loss in the long run. And so, if you're spending too much time losing employees where they get burnout and then you have to hire more people and then they get burnout and then you hire more people, you're actually losing money in the long run because on the back end, the old employees are getting worn out and they're not as productive and they're not as good with customer service. And then the new employees, of course, are not good at customer service because they're just brand new and new trained, and they're spending money to, of course, pay them more because of market values and such. And then, of course, you are losing people, so you're having to basically pay more people to come and train people to be able to continue to maintain customers. And so that actually doesn't help in the long run. It actually can lose on customer retention as well and customer satisfaction. And so with that as well, in the opposite, when you have long-term benefits that the employees feel more engaged and they actually feel more autonomous and that they're actually contributing to the company long-term. And so when they feel like they are contributing long-term, they love the company. And so then when you love something, you want to tell other people. And so that actually results in better customer service, which results in more loyal customers and thus more money. So within that, this study, of course, was very much backed up by a further study that I did on the Human Era at Work study by the Harvard Business Review and the Energy Project. And so this digs into the 4 aspects of human life: the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. And so how people are being affected in the work world and how it can be better in these 4 areas. And so the Human Era at Work Project did a survey with around 20,000 workers worldwide. And we're talking like 20,000 plus workers. And so for starters, in the physical realm, one of the biggest issues was breaks at work. And so Dr. Nathaniel Kleitman did a study on human energy and how we actually work in 90-minute intervals. And so between these 90-minute intervals, he encourages that there be about 5 to 10-minute breaks. And so during an 8-hour workday, you're looking at like 5 to 6 breaks there. And so a lot of people only get like 20, 25 minutes during breaks, and that's just not enough, especially if these people are also being penalized for taking their breaks or rewarded for taking less breaks. And so then you're rewarding burnout, and that's bad. And so that doesn't create better employees, it actually creates worse employees. And so the encouragement is to include a break every 90 minutes for 5 to 10 minutes. And so and the next one, of course, is the emotional side of things. And so basically, I mentioned how in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you had the physical needs, and then you have the emotional needs following. And so the Human Era of Work Project looked at the satisfaction of workers. They looked at the trust of workers as well. And basically, if they felt like they were being engaged. And it was startling to find that not that many did. And so basically, the encouragement was also something I actually wrote about as a positive reinforcement was collaboration. And so if you are listening to your employees, if you are asking them for ideas and actually taking them, then you are likely to keep those employees. But if you are, let's say, if you are asking for advice and you're getting concerns from employees, but instead of taking the advice, you're getting rid of those employees and just trying to get people who would say, yes, sir, whatever you want, sir, then you will actually get more burnout employees and unhappy customers. And so the encouragement is to create an atmosphere of collaboration and the feelings that they can give honest feedback and not be penalized for it. And so the next part, of course, is the mental side of things. And so this was the biggest impact negatively. And so only 19% of worldwide employees feel like that they can balance their work, that the work demands, and that they can be able to have the time to focus on everything tasks that they need. And then only 16% feel like they are being challenged creatively and strategically. And so the encouragement basically is to make sure that these employees that you're working, you're not overloading with requirements, and that you're not penalizing them for not meeting all the requirements that you are throwing at them. Because if you're going to give a bunch of people jobs, the same jobs, and you're expecting them to do a lot of things at once and do them all with excellence, you're asking too much. You need to give certain employees very certain positions and encourage the employees that are doing one thing well to continue doing that, and then give the things that they're not doing as well, maybe those tasks, to somebody who's doing those tasks well, so that you can continue to be productive within your company. And also making sure that you're giving them the challenge that they need to continue. The last thing was the spiritual side of things. And so spiritually being the ability to connect to the values of the company. And so there's quite a few people that didn't feel, 62%, which was wild, of workers didn't feel like they connected truly to the vision, or that they weren't being treated per the vision of the company as employees. That they were basically, the vision was for the style of the company. They wanted to profess to the world, but they weren't maintaining that vision. And so the encouragement was that the leadership make sure that they go back and that they are following that vision on all fronts, and that they're continuing to pass that vision on to their employees, and then continuing to treat people in that way. And so in the end is that when all of these are met, you've got more satisfaction, you got more engagement, more positivity, and 99% more employee loyalty. And so the encouragement is continue a cycle of positivity, because it will continue to give you a cycle of positive rewards long term as a company. Well, I hope that definitely explains it and encourages you guys who have companies or work in a company to do something about it, because this is a big issue. Do not stand for being used. Be positive employees and desire for a collaborative environment.